you did not have the option of doing things that are conflicting with what you're employed for.
Yes.
I call this, let's call them side hustles.
Yeah, we had to sign something called a conflict of interest thing. So like if I wanted to do something that was kind of related on the side, I had to get like permission to do it.
Exactly.
So if my side hustle is related to do with like my specific set of skills,
Yes.
it was hard to do that. Now if I wanted to go and braid hair over the weekends, they wouldn't care.
But that puts you at a disadvantage because you're better off making money with something
With something that I know how to do, yeah.
Exactly. And then you also mentioned something interesting. Most people are going into content creation, but you say that for the duration you worked for your employer, the content creation you left is not the same content creation you found.
That space has completely changed. First of all, when I joined my previous employer, which was about 5 years ago, TikTok wasn't really a thing, was it? It became huge, especially during the pandemic. That's what made superstars out of everybody because we're all at home looking at our phones. And so like the content creation space I left was just guys typing funny tweets or you're shooting a video for yourself. I'm telling you right now, the top content creators have a team of people. You have your personal assistant, you have your crew, there's someone that you're paying to shoot your content and edit your content for you. The people who even have people who manage their social media, they're not posting themselves. Like it's intense because this, when you come down and think about it, is a business and it's a multi-million shilling business. People are making hella money. In fact, I should say dollar, because right now we are not quoting in shillings. The shilling can be exchanged at the dollar today. How much is today? 137?
It's almost 150 now.
At a K?
Almost
thank you.
now.
Thank you. My rate card is in dollars. This is why our rate cards are in dollars. But if you're doing consultancies, please do your rate in dollars because that shilling is doing whatever it wants. You'll be Zimbabwe before long. You're going with a paper bag of money to the supermarket.
I hope we don't get there.
Yeah, so that space has
game has changed.
The game has changed. Like now content creation is work. It's not just posting selfies and looking pretty. It's work. Like I'm sure you've seen these content creators that do these really intricate little transitions. So you meva ngoza kulala and then you do something to the camera, then before you know it, and it's so smooth and seamless. The people who are being incredibly creative on social media.
Throwing an outfit at someone.
Alafu nimeivaa.
You know, I tried posting.
Oh, that thing umekelea nguo hapa and then I step into them and now I'm dressed.
Yes,
like
I've tried posting that video to see them naked. It's too fast. It's too fast. Social media is moving too fast for me. It's moving too fast.
Yeah, and that's a kind of the evolution of social media that, but then you've killed people. Now people are here going to start posing. You mess up people's Wi-Fi's tonight. Anyway, but basically that space has completely evolved and changed. And so you have to evolve and change.
Can you say that corporate is moving into the digital economy in some way?
Absolutely. Think about it. When it comes to how we used to consume media 10 years ago, it's not the way we consume media now.
Things have changed.
If you ask people below a certain age, the last time they sat down to watch news, where are people getting, look at that reaction, where are people getting their news from? Social media. No one is going to sit down at Habari. No one does that anymore. No one does that anymore. And then as a result, because when you're watching news, what do you have in the middle of news? Ad breaks. Advertising, sindio. Yeah. So when you're watching news, and that was prime advertising time, sindio. That's why they call it prime time news. So like if I'm watching the 9 o'clock news, in the middle, like 10 minutes in, there'll be an ad for a washing detergent, and after that for cooking oil and blah blah blah. But no one is watching. So what are these detergents and these cooking oils doing? They're approaching influencers to find where people are going to consume the news.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Alafu, this is the depressing part of this conversation.
Ooh, okay.
We mentioned, and most people, when people talk about a salary, they talk about, let's say, for example, 50K, 20K, and it's interesting that over 60% of Kenyans earn below 50K, right? And then the depressing part comes at if you earn 500,000 shillings every month, and you fall into the category of setting standards, you don't have money.
Yeah, you don't. even that 500,000, there was something, I think, was it Boniface Mwangi who said it? But I think it's been said many times. Many of these people who we think are earning ultra high salaries, you know, all of these people are one serious illness away from poverty.
I've heard that.
One.
Yes.
Because your health insurance itaisha, and then?
Okay.
And then you'll be fired from your job because you're too sick. And then? Then you've been living in Lavington. You can't pay your rent.
Are you saying
and then?
You'd rather be sick with 50K than you be sick with
Don't
half
worry.
a million? Umenipotea.
You know, you made me even go traditional.
No, I'm asking because in this context, the first time I had that conversation that if you earn 500,000, it doesn't make sense. It was if you earn 500,000, you cannot afford a V8. And then I was like,
Do you know, let me tell you, the people who can afford a V8 are making so much money. So much money. 500,000 is nothing. You can't remember a certain ex-governor that was counting for us 30 million and saying, "Niyo ni pesa ya fuel."
no.
See, you give me your fuel money, sir. I know you're watching. Hi, I would like that fuel money. Thank you.
I choose not to remember that governor.
Yeah, that was a period of trauma for all of us. Every time his name is mentioned, guys go like la 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 la, like it's just traumatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your experience being fired from this job was not the first one. You had another one before. You still got another job because I'll give you props.
It was this building.
That was different management. And then yeah, for real, it's
No, it's true. It was different. It was different management
and a new management.
Yeah.
Then that happened to you. Kidogo, you got another job, and you deserve all the flowers because that's how good you are.
Thank you.
Your value demonstrates itself.
Thank you.
So you got the other job. It happened to you again.
Yeah.
Would you go look for a job again?
That entirely depends. First of all, first and foremost, I'm a journalist. I love being a journalist. My previous employer made me a really good journalist. I've seen places on this planet that I wouldn't have otherwise seen and experienced and been to had it not been for my previous employer. I've gotten stamps in my passport that I would never have gotten were it not from my previous employer. Having said that, and even I said this to you earlier, you know, when it happens to you once, it's like, damn, but then now the second time you're like, I need to go.
Yeah.
Maybe like they said before, there's a village witch. That thought crosses your mind, like, what the hell? But then when you think about it, you're like, every time this has happened, it has accelerated such a period of personal growth for me.
Yes.
And so I see this as a blessing, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the time that you have been in the market, is now.
Kwa soko ama
yes.
in the market.
But then ukisema na Kiswahili, it changes the meaning.
I'm telling you.
So now that you're doing freelance now, right? Let's call it freelance.
Yeah.
Have you felt the shock of your job of being laid off from your work? Have you felt the shock, or your strategy has worked?
I have to say that it's not a shock really. Who are these people that are calling me? Anyway, it's not a shock really, because as I said earlier, we had been prepared. So that period of preparation, it's also a personal decision. You know, I could also have just sat there and prayed that, I believe that it will not happen to me, and then it happens when you're like, whoa, what just happened? So, and then also the fact that I do believe that I'm in a very privileged position. I have a large platform online, so that as well has given me, like, you know, sources of income.
Yeah.
And then also just networking, just getting to know people. And then also, I really had to change my lifestyle. You know, the things that you do, knowing that there's going to be another salary at the end of the month, you can't do them anymore, because as a freelancer, you can get a massive check. Like a check that could be worth 5 months' salary where you are making somewhere else.
Yes.
And then you have a period of like drought for 6 months. Okay. So as a freelancer, you really have to be very cognizant and very careful about how you spend your money, how you plan your life. Like even here in Meshukwa, so these what are they called? The 4 locks.
So you're dready.
Zangu nilinyoa and I'm never putting them again. This is how. Let me tell
Imagine
you,
I wouldn't have
let me
guessed.
tell you one thing that women of this country are, and I'll tell you for free. We are very corrupt. We can't really lie to you that things are real and they are not. It's corruption. Anyway, but this hair, it's the reason I even work at it is that the next time I'm going to like in December. So it actually, no, but you wash it. It's not that I start looking like the Dan Kimathi. Calm down.
They started giving you mau reaction.
As you find me in the morning, I've laid down like this.
Yes.
Was that wrong? I feel like I went too far.
No.
Anyway.
20.
Yeah, but even
No,
even things like that where like even the money I used to spend like on my nails. Like now I'm like, okay, what do I need acrylics for? Now I'm I need to cut back on certain things because there's ways, because I've opened a company with my business partner, and so there's money that now I have to throw into my business, and that's not money. And remember how I was saying that I sat in a comfort zone?
Yes.
All that time I could have opened a business, I did not. But then when we got this news is when now, this was last year, when I started putting together my money and being like, okay, let me open a business, let me do this, let me do that. And when you're a business person, when you're an entrepreneur, you really start looking at life differently. No one is paying you. Your money is coming from you. So even that thing at let me go do acrylics for 5K.
Yes.
Now this period has really made me a proper Kikuyu man. Grizano, like Dwara, nails, 5,000 shillings. So I've become very cognizant. And then like even this thing for, when you think about even going out at night, like on weekends, like, oh, it's been a nice long week, let's go out. Depending on where you go out, you like calling me a cool kid. So now if you go to these cool kid places that cool kids go,
you will see fire.
Where? Like, honestly, if you go by yourself and you're being really conservative with your spending, you'll still end up spending like 8 Gs in that night.
Yeah.
So we just stay home and order one of these bottles from this online delivery. Again, I would say their name, but they haven't paid me. Pay me. But they can bring they can bring your drink to your house and you spend
8 Gs.
That is the least. This is minimum.
That's a watchman's salary minimum.
Yeah.
Unanyonya kwa chupa.
Let me tell you, if you go to a bar where a cocktail is 1,000 shillings.
Okay. Good thing. Awongei na mlevi. And then here's something.
Sure, Jan.
So when you go back kidogo, these things that you say you have to cut back on, are you saying that if, let's say for example, in the context of if these are things you knew when getting into employment, the employment that we're talking about now, 5 years ago, how different would your life be if you lived the way you live now?
Well, of course, I'd have a heck of a lot more money, but I don't have many regrets, honestly. Okay. You know, if you live your life in regrets, like, I should have, because I did make some pretty wise investments that are paying off now.
Yes.
You know, having the father that I had, I was not going to get away with squandering money.
Yes.
So there's some investments that were made and things like that. So in that sense, I don't have many regrets. Could I have been more careful? Yes. Would I advise people in employment now to be more careful? Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then again, I'll keep repeating. Those people you're setting standards for, where you're going to drink that cocktail for 1,000 bob, which by the way, half of it is ice, so you're not drinking anything. You're just drinking cold water. A hoax, a scam.
For 8,000.
Yeah.
And Nini, tell me if this would work as a psychological approach to work. Before you take on a contract or employment, you set your some sort of biological clock. Like, I only need this job for, let's say, 2 years, after which I should be comfortable. If they choose to extend, it's a bonus. But for 2 years, I'll be okay. Yeah. Would that help? Instead of the
Honestly,
idea...
I believe so. I think that's a really good idea. If you're entering employment thinking, now I'm set. Unless that is your mother or your father's company. You know, if you're not working for a company that belongs to your mother, kama kampuni siya mama yako, please. Always plan for your exit. Even though it's entering that thing or that mindset of, let me spend 2 years here and then I'll renew. Like, even you should have your own contract with the company, even though it's within yourself. Yes. But if you enter this organization, you tell yourself, I'm giving this 2 years and then it will be subject to a review. Mm-hmm. If that review, you're like, okay, this is working out, let me give them 1 more year. Then that's actually even puts you in a mindset of, let me save as much money as I can. Let me keep my eyes open for other opportunities out there.
Yes,
Then
yes,
you'll also have a far healthier relationship with that workplace, because you know, even though that those people decide to be toxic, at some point you can be like, anyway, bye.
You need to be in a position where
You need, and that actually puts you in a position of power. Because, you know, this thing where people say, oh my God, I hate my boss, I hate my job. It's because you're not in a position of power. You need them more than they need you. And I remember even my dad used to tell me, if you have that attitude towards work, then one day you're crossing the road and you're hit by a bus and you die. That the next day they'll be advertising your job. No one is indispensable. So you have to put yourself in that position of power. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very, very powerful. And do you have what do you have to say to someone who's actively looking for a job now? Your lessons from employment.
Hey bro, like this is not a great time to be actively looking for a job. In fact, people are offloading staff right now. I'm sure you know this.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest time. So I would actually ask people, advise people to do a skills audit. What can I do?
Yes.
What are the skills that I can monetize?
Yes.
And then you try and figure out how to monetize. You see, nowadays, you're in a far better position. You don't need to go buy advertising space in a TV or a radio station for people to know your business exists. Just jump on social media, sell to your friends, scale up from that, grow your sphere of influence. And this is one thing I've noticed with Gen Z especially. Gen Z are so entrepreneurial that they're the same people. And I find this so funny. A Gen Z will go and quit a job and say, I'm sorry, it's just not giving. I'm like, giving what? It's not giving. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Hi,
but
Peani.
Yeah, you see, that's what you're saying about Kiswahili.
I'm not Gen Z. I'm not Gen Z.
But the thing about Gen Z is that they've learned from millennials. This was humiliating in really terrible situations, and they said, we're not doing that. And I really admire them for that. The person who styles me sometimes for events is 24 years old. She's a Gen Z. My assistant, who I love, hi Moffat.
Gen Z wameshafika 24 years.
Guy, are you going to fall off your seat? Calm down.
Okay.
Yes, they have. Because Gen Z starts from 1996.
96?
Yeah.
I thought Gen Z is 2000 something.
Apana, it's 96. Gen Z
I was
starts from
shocked
96.
to hear that we have people who were born in 2000s that have babies.
Me, when someone tells me, I ask Ati, when were you born? 2000 and I'm like, and? Why is that an and? Why is that a compound sentence? 2000 and.
People who were born after Kibaki.
When I was a legal
president.
voter. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's one thing that I've noticed about Gen Z. Even though they're getting these opportunities, they have such insane side hustles.
Yes.
I see people who are monetizing content on TikTok, where basically their job is to tell you where it's fun to go in Nairobi. TikTok has become like Google. TikTok is a new search engine nowadays. I've learned more on TikTok than I've learned more about Nairobi on TikTok than
you can't compare
else.
it to Google because you'll have to search for someone who's talking about Nairobi.
Yeah, but that's what you do, even on Google. What do you tell Google?
What
do you
TikTok,
type?
As in, it's text. It's written text.
Yes.
You have to listen. You'll have to go sijui chambu. But
I can tell you
experiment
old.
that. Manze. that thing
Okay,
that you're talking about. But being a Mubabas is a compliment in the world of today. For Gen Z. I'm probably one.
So that's so unfair. Mubabas is a compliment. Mumama is not.
Mumama is not. No, it is. It's becoming now. It's
becoming.
It's becoming.
Very said.
Very soon, by the give it 6 months. Mumama will be.
6 months?
Yes.
Okay, can we put a bet on that?
We can. It's
Are you sure you want
recorded. To? It's on record.
Are you sure you want to bet with a Kikuyu woman?
It's on.
Okay.
That thing that unasema at the opportunities, they have immense opportunities. The Gen Z, is that the future of work? Because you mentioned stuff about AI coming to take people's jobs too.
First of all, the AI conversation is really, I don't want to say scary, it's fascinating. 2 years ago, could you ever have predicted the rise of something called ChatGPT? And now there are universities across the world that have had to ban that thing because people are writing their essays and passing class using AI.
Ah.
So,
I have a friend.
There's a young man. I wish you guys could find him with the camera.
No, I have
Make
a friend,
him famous.
I have a friend who was doing academic writing who told me that when ChatGPT came,
Yeah.
it threatened their jobs kidogo,
Yeah.
but then the institutions find anti-ChatGPT software.
Yeah, yes, but then now...
Sawa, ChatGPT. Yes. Anti-ChatGPTs.
You can do it.
I can just say it in full, ChatGPT. So now they found a software that can counter it, so
Yeah.
that they can tell that this has been done by AI.
Yes, but you see, the thing is, because AI is such a fast evolving technology, so like the way someone has developed the anti-ChatGPT software, now there's someone that's going to come up with the anti-chat,
So back and
Yeah,
forth.
so it evolves so quickly, and so there are certain jobs, and there's so many articles, and I really advise people to read these articles. There's a lot of great content that's being made online about AI, like especially if you're a young person, you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do in my career? Am I doing the right course in uni? Okay, what do I want my future to look like? I really advise you to watch, consume this content, read these articles, watch the content, because then you can see, is my job AI proof? Is my chosen career AI proof? There are certain careers, like the one career that will forever be AI proof, forever and a day. Mjengo, because which software will you just sit there? Who is going to carry those bricks up there?
And most people that are those jobs come as a Mjengo,
Yeah.
and CG plumbing and stuff, and I'm told that highly skilled Mjengo nini.
You can go to Canada.
are
That
the
is a highly
highest
skilled job.
paid, yes.
Yeah. You can, if you're a plumber, you're a mason, you're an electrician, those are AI-proof jobs. Another AI-proof job forever and ever is a farmer.
You've not heard of fake rice waves, no?
And then you've not heard of death, have you? If I'm making plastic rice and then people find out it's plastic and people are dying,
Okay.
I can't sell plastic rice forever. People, what to see wajinga?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So like even when you're looking at your chosen career, how can I AI proof myself and my chosen career? And that
So
means
basically,
consistently growing your skills, consistently reading, consistently learning. That's how to AI proof your career.
So the future of work is skill.
Skill, and skills that cannot be replicated by a machine.